Hey, so I'm hitting the beach in a few weeks, so I've really been trying to cut down on carbs and sugar and unhealthy food in general. Not gonna lie, it's a bit of a struggle. I like eating, and I like eating junk. Luckily, I can still treat myself to one of my faves without feeling guilty about it. That's right, Magic Spoon is still on the menu. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 140 calories, and only 4 net grams per serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And of course, they have a bunch of delicious flavors that you can build your own custom bundle with. Cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle. Me, I get 3 boxes of cocoa and 3 boxes of frosted. And sometimes I'll throw in a peanut butter, and I mix them all together. It's delicious. And listen to this. Magic Spoon is excited to announce the launch of their limited edition cereal bars. They're similar in nutritional value to a protein bar, just 100 times more fun and enjoyable. Every bar has 10 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and only 4 net grams of carbs. You can get them in cookies and cream and cocoa and peanut butter. Now, they sent me a box of each flavor, but my kid and his friends got home from basketball, they got a hold of them, and they were gone in 10 seconds. So I never got a chance to try one, but I think they love them. Go to magicspoon.com/NoDunks and use the code NoDunks for $5 off your order. In addition to your cereal boxes, be sure to grab some cereal bars while supplies last. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/NoDunks to get $5 off a custom bundle of cereal or to try out their delicious new cereal bars while supplies last. Oh, and great news, Magic Spoon is now shipping to Canada and the UK. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
This is a thing. It's called beaning. People are beaning people's doorsteps. Beans on the car. Beans in the mail. Beans in the clock. Vaseline beans. Beans in the Crocs. Listerine beans.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, we got Tass Mellis.
Hello, fellow basketball colleagues.
Hello, Tassie. We got our top shot hot boy. He loves his beans, Trey Kirby.
Heyo.
Hey-o. It's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Leigh Ellis. Beans. And finally, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Shout out to the stream team joining us live right now on YouTube. Take a second, like the video. Make sure you subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Comment away, both in the stream team and if you're watching later, in the comments section below. We jump in there a lot, respond to people, like things, heart things, get angry with some people. It's a blast. So we're in the comment sections.
We'll mix it up.
That's actually us. You rarely know who it is of us commenting. Well, no, that's not true. We sometimes add a JE or an LE.
Yeah, well, if someone's coming right at you.
That's right.
If it's a general one, you can just say, all right, I'll throw it in there. They can
that's
guess
true. That's true. Thank you for liking our show. That's all 4 of us saying
That's
that at
right,
once.
yes.
But anyway, share the show, guys, as well. Email in your NBA questions to nodunks@theathletic.com. Get yourself an athletic subscription. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks. $1 a month deal right now for new subscribers, so go take advantage of that and get your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. Okay, fun show today. Later on, we're going to look at the most compelling Eastern Conference playoff races. Okay, we're going to really take a detailed look at it. There's only 5 weeks of the regular season left. So we'll do that today, and if we don't bore you, we'll do the Western Conference on tomorrow's show.
Wait to see the comments today. And
Yes,
decide,
that's right.
yeah.
That's right. But we're going to get into last night's games with a little What You Got. But before that, we got some wedgies, guys, and we had 2 of them last night. Been a long time since we had 2 wedgies on the same night of basketball.
Wow, an unintentional wedgie. Really? Well, not shooting.
Usually they're shooting them right in there on purpose.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Usually it's a shot. That wasn't a shot. That was a pass.
Yeah, like a floater sort of pass deal.
Okay, well, yeah, Luka, number 29. And then De'Aaron Fox got fouled, actually. That's very rare. I checked the numbers. That's the first time this season, Tass, that somebody actually got fouled on the shot attempt, but stuck the wedgie, and that was number 30. So that increased our, wedgie tracker pace up to 42 here.
42, fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, probably the most money owed to the wedgiers ever. You know what I mean? As far as contracts go in the future, Luka Doncic and De'Aaron Fox.
Thank you.
Check
Okay.
the stats on that.
Gotcha.
Luka Doncic and De'Aaron Fox, how much money combined? A lot.
Yeah, okay.
No doubt
Interesting.
about it.
Star power.
We got all
right
your
there.
stats when it comes to the wedgie. So you think Luka was passing? Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
definitely was. Yeah, he was
interesting.
lobbing it in there.
Interesting. But what do we? I guess we're counting it as a jumper.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I wonder what the box score says.
It said jump shot. I went and checked.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shot. Missed
Yeah,
shot.
it was a bit of a floater, but
I
yeah.
hit the rim.
right.
There was a.
Wasn't it deflected?
Oh, was it deflected?
I thought it was
Now we got to go back
Jesus,
even
no,
deeper
no,
into
no,
the
no,
stats.
no. Let's just call it. Let's call it a jumper and move on because I want to play a little what you got. What you got? We're going to be using, obviously, what happened last night in the association and making some questions and having some debates here because we had Embiid going for 43 points and 14 boards as the 76ers thumped the Bulls 121-106. And then a little bit later, Jokic with another triple-double, monster line again. He leads his Nuggets past the Warriors 131-124. So the what you got, it's MVP right now. It's Embiid or Jokic, what you got, and go nuts if you want to include Giannis in there as well. But between these two, who are you going with, Tess?
Well, my most valuable player is Jokic. Undoubtedly. StatMuse broke it down. If you're into the stats, StatMuse did a great job. Nikola Jokic leads in 30 different categories while Embiid leads in 6.
So like basic stats, advanced stats, all the real
Like the
crazy
stats,
ones.
man. Every
Yeah.
stat you can think of. Wedgies, not included. But Jokic far away my guy. But I will say on this night, the most valuable player is Joel Embiid because we have lots of time to talk about the MVP. This specific night, I think, was important for Joel Embiid and the Sixers to show their defense can be a championship level defense because that has dropped off since last season. A couple points overall, and I think on this night, it shows that Harden can help Embiid on the defensive end. What do I mean by that? Well, James Harden can be the offensive fulcrum, and I think that saves Embiid a little bit to be great on the defensive end, to go out there and help in space. And I think that was really evident yesterday against the Bulls out there. As guards came up to him, he was yelling, he was barking, he was the backbone of that defense. He had 2 big steals, 3 big blocks. You did not want to go near that guy on the defensive end, and so I think his legs are saved a little bit. And Harden also helps him on the offensive end. He's helping him get easier shots. But the fact that Harden takes the ball every single possession is a lot different than it was the first 55 games for Joel Embiid. He had to be the offensive fulcrum. So I think that saves him. And it saves both of them because James Harden was sprinting upstairs after this game. That's my question. Yeah, sure, MVP. But how many times did James Harden sprint up those stairs? He was getting in his stair work after the game. There was only a video of one sprint. So
I think that's it.
Is it running stairs if a guy sprints once? Yeah, I think there were people leaving as he was sprinting, so that would lead you to believe that he sprinted like 18 times, and they're like, okay, I'm done here, I'm leaving. Like fans, I'm talking about standing around watching James Harden, but James Harden getting in work. I love when guys get in work in front of the cameras. It's always funny.
That to me was when your partner goes out of town for the weekend and you want to make sure the house is clean by the time they get home. They say they'll be home at 6, so at 5 o'clock you start cleaning the kitchen. That's what James Harden running the stairs
I
after
literally
a game
just
was.
did this.
Yep.
My wife just returned yesterday, and I was vacuuming about 20 minutes before I went.
Hey, it looks great in here. Yeah, thanks. I've been working hard all weekend, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the actual MVP, though. It's interesting you bring up Embiid's defense, last night, and he's turned it on of late. I think if you're going with these two guys, Embiid or Jokic for MVP, and you're doing the whole ledger thing, like, okay, stat-wise, offensively, well, that's probably a tick for Jokic. The numbers are just more impressive.
Yeah.
Record-wise, it's basically a draw.
Yep,
Although
it is.
Tass brought up the other day, it's funny because the Nuggets are so far down in the Western Conference standings compared to where the Sixers are in the East, but their record is basically
One game,
identical.
yeah.
Narrative, well, you could pick and choose on that. Embiid doesn't have Ben Simmons, but Jokic doesn't have Murray or Michael Porter Jr. But then the one thing where the tick would probably go to Embiid is defensively. And I wonder how much voters will go, well, look at the numbers they're putting up offensively. Their records are pretty close. They're juggernauts on that end, but do they sway to Embiid because he is probably he is a better defensive player than Jokic, who also holds his own, don't get me wrong. I think he is.
For MVP voting, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you're looking more at what they do on the other end of the floor. And I've probably been more in Embiid's corner this season, but I have probably switched right now. This is not my final answer. I'm not playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm not locking it in, but I would say today I've got Jokic still, or Jokic now as my MVP. Look, I'm trying to find ways of splitting them up and seeing, okay, who is doing better and their season record and all that. And Jokic has played more games. Their numbers in terms of their shooting the ball, Jokic is nearly at 60%. He's shooting 57%. 3-pointers, identical there. Rebounds, Jokic has him, and assists as well. So you're just sort of looking like who has been more important to them. I think this is by far Embiid's greatest season he's had. I think he's looked super dominant. I love that little mid-ranger he's got. I love the way that he's impacted games, and especially last night. No Vucci, but Tristan Thompson and Tony Bradley was just like, don't even try. Like, he was just far too good. And he's done that several times. That goes back to last season as well, where he's like, these guys can't stop me, and they couldn't. So I just think Jokic has probably had to do a little bit more, and he's doing it a little bit more efficiently, I think. I mean, it's very, very close here. The record, yes, one game doesn't make any difference. So standings, that shouldn't come into it. And I think where the Nuggets are right now, I think Jokic has just carried that team a little more than what Joel Embiid has done. So my pick is Jokic. It is extremely close. This is one of the closest races I think I can recall in a long time.
Yeah, I saw Hollinger write today with more than 3/4 of the season in the books. All three, so he's including Giannis here in the mix with Embiid and Jokic, are having, not just MVP caliber seasons, but runaway MVP seasons.
Yeah.
In normal years, really. All three of them, because of the type of campaigns that normally result in the player hoisting that trophy with hardly a dissenting vote. And quote there on Hollinger, a great article on The Athletic about this. But it is historic. It's a race for the ages.
Race, no doubt. To me, it's the best race since at least 2016-17, which was Westbrook triple-double season. James Harden finished second. Kawhi Leonard finished third, and it was like, you could pick any one of those three guys, and that's exactly what it is right now. You could pick any one of Embiid, Jokic, or Giannis. It's also a little bit like Shaq versus David Robinson for the scoring title, 93-94, in that it came down to David Robinson scoring 71 in the last day of the season. Why would you choose who's the MVP now? Like, there's still 18 games here, and these guys are putting up 40 points every single night. Jokic is a triple-double every single night. I've had Embiid by a nose for most of the season, mainly because of the record stuff, which I think feels weird because the records, like you're saying, they're pretty similar. One game separating it, but it definitely feels like the Sixers are a lot closer to a championship than the Nuggets are. That's just because we haven't seen the Nuggets at full strength for the majority of this season, and obviously Jamal Murray's been out for the entire year. But that's the crazy thing to me. It feels like Jokic's biggest obstacle to winning again is that he's got an MVP already. It's hard to win back-to-back in the first place. And number two, we're comparing them to how good the team looked last year, right? When it was like, oh, they have a chance to win the championship. They don't, as constructed right now. But that's really only because the Eastern Conference, I feel like, is wide open, whereas you see the Suns in the West, and you're like, they're going to probably win the West at this point. It doesn't feel like the Nuggets will, but I don't know. I think Jokic is kind of seizing the narrative right now. Once James Harden came over to the 76ers, so Embiid has to do a little bit less, like you're saying. He was complaining early in the year, I got to do everything. Everything is tough for me. It ain't tough for him right now, whereas Jokic, it's like, all right, we need 30 points in fourth quarter and overtime. I got that for you. We need a steal. We need somebody to whip a 95-mile-an-hour fastball for an assist. I can do whatever you need.
Yeah, it also just feels like the Sixers are closer to title just because of the parity in the Eastern Conference. They feel like they can win it for sure, but yeah, the Nuggets are way further down because they're better teams, high-level teams in the Western Conference, and mainly the Suns, for sure. The other thing that's always funny about the MVP race is that a secondary player helps a lot. Having a great second player just helps so much. So if the Nuggets can get Michael Porter Jr. Or Jamal Murray back, and they can propel them up in the standings a little bit, that helps. It's just such a dumb thing because Steph Curry was having a great season with Draymond Green beside him. Draymond Green goes down, Steph Curry's numbers fall off, and all of a sudden he's just not part of the discussion anymore. But if Nikola Jokic gets back, one of those dudes, to be a secondary guy, it helps their standings number. It helps them in the standings,
Right.
so that helps them win. We're just not going to see a Russell Westbrook a situation again where he finishes 6th in the Western Conference standings and they win, because the other candidates in this season, as we talked about, as Hollinger pointed out there, they're just too good. They're too good.
So you think
can't
Harden
overcome
has actually helped Embiid's? It hasn't hurt his chances of winning MVP.
No,
and
it
coming to this
hasn't.
team.
It hasn't. It hasn't. No.
Mainly because of the win-loss record.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, even though again they're one game apart, the Sixers and the Nuggets, which is bonkers, but they're 4 spots different in the standings.
Yeah. We should get a poll up here.
Already
maybe
got
on the
one up,
stream
my
team.
man.
Love it. Love it.
I actually got 2 nice factoids for you right here. Number 1, Joel Embiid is the only one of Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid who has a wedgie this season. Does that put him ahead? We shall see. In our poll in the stream team right now, we asked what you got for the MVP. Just these 2 guys, Embiid or Jokic. 61% for
Jokic.
Jokic.
Yeah.
61 Jokic. Ooh, 62 Jokic. 38 now for Embiid.
It is also, I think Mike Zakarian actually tweeted it last night, one of the Top Shot Hot Boys out there. At this point in the season, it's like Embiid and the Sixers, they play like the early game. And
Right.
so by like, let's call it 9 or 10, you got all of Twitter saying Embiid MVP because he puts up a 40-10 in a big win. Flash forward a couple hours later, West Coast game, Jokic plays out there, Midwest time or whatever. Jokic for MVP after a monster triple double. It is funny the way it's going, and again, I'm not meaning to not include Giannis here. He just didn't play last night, so we had to make it to the what you got. Just keep it to these 2 guys, but he is right there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to win it. I think it's one of these 2 guys. We're saying. I really do.
Yeah,
unless the Bucks just ran on a 15-game win streak and continue to put up his numbers.
I think for Giannis it is harder because he's a champ. He's won it twice. He's won defensive. It feels like he's been given a lot of flowers recently, well deserved, all of them deserving, and I think that can sort of make it like people like, well, we want to mix it up a little bit,
That's why I think Embiid is the favorite here to get it over Jokic and Giannis, because he just doesn't have one, like Trey said. That's helping him in it. I'm not saying that's right, but I think it is.
Yeah, I just wonder if we get a situation like in 1990 where Magic won the award, but Charles Barkley got more first place votes. And that was a 22 vote or point difference in the end that Magic won, even though he had 11 first place votes less than Charles Barkley. And then Michael Jordan, that guy, he came in 3rd. He was another 60 points behind Barkley there. So, that could be where we're at right now. I mean,
or to add on to that, and I think in Hollinger's article, he said, look, if you have an actual vote in this MVP and you do not have these 3 guys in some order 1, 2, 3, then your vote should be taken away from you.
For sure.
But I bet there's going to be votes. Ja Morant, second or third place votes.
Doncic,
maybe DeRozan, Doncic, maybe Tatum. I think there's going to be some, especially third place votes, I would think, that maybe come into play.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could.
Depending on how it breaks down. But yeah, what an unbelievable race. And, we've talked about it all season long, and we're going to continue, like Trey said, for the final 5. I joked on yesterday's podcast, as reductive as it might be, that March 14th game next week between the Sixers and Nuggets is huge. If one of them crushes the other one, that's going to definitely help in terms of the narrative.
what happens if they're they play to a dead even?
They probably will. I mean, they probably will both basically
30
have
and 15.
Yeah.
2-point game.
I think Sixers should rest Harden for that game.
To help show Embiid's interesting.
They should just go straight up center versus center. You're allowed to pass it, but only if you're well defended.
Huh.
So I don't know.
Hey, Maury loves the MVP. He's always trying to get Harden one. So maybe they will take your advice there. All right, let's keep it going here. We had Luka and the Mavs beating the Jazz 111-103, possible playoff preview. And we had Towns and the Wolves killing the Blazers 124-81. The T-Wolves have now won 5 straight. So both these teams on a bit of a tear. So the question is, what you got? Hotter team right now, Mavs or Wolves? Trey, what you got?
That's a tight one. 5 straight for the Mavs, 11 of 13 overall. 5 straight for the Wolves, 8 of 10 overall. Whew, that's solid. But I'm giving it to the Mavs for a couple of reasons. Number 1, better comp. Number 2, better best player. The Mavs have been looking great lately. The defense obviously picked up starting in January, but it hasn't fallen off. They're second in the league in defensive rating since the calendar turned. And on this run, they've beaten the Jazz, the Warriors twice. And Warriors are struggling right now, but still a good team. The Heat and the 76ers. That's 5 wins against title contenders. And we said around All-Star, Doncic has an MVP run in him. He, like we said, best he could do this year probably is fourth. But he's been an MVP of late if the two the other MVP candidates weren't still being MVPs of late. But last night was just the latest masterpiece for Doncic. 35 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, trash-talking Rudy Gobert, and honestly just orchestrating everything on the court for the Mavericks. My favorite thing from Doncic last night, though, was 16 rebounds. It's a season high for him. The Jazz are a big, good rebounding team. The Mavs are often playing 3 small guys, Luka and a big, so they need him to kind of be big. So he was big. He grabbed the rebounds. They needed it. He did everything necessary to win in that last couple of minutes of this game. Had a couple of boards and a steal that really iced the game. It's not what you're expecting from Doncic, but that's how you win playoff games, is by doing the unexpected things out there. Another nice game for Dinwiddie as well. He had 23 points, 5 threes. Dorian Finney-Smith, he's money now. Right now as well, 21 points, 4 threes. I honestly think the Mavericks should be getting kind of the same respect that the Celtics are getting in the Eastern Conference. It's just the difference in the qualities of the conference. It feels like the Celtics could go on a run here and get out of the East. But if you're looking at the teams, it's not much different. The Mavs are playing incredible defense, and they've got a superstar who's going to show up in the playoffs. They're also peaking at the right time. At the very least, I know Utah does not want to see Dallas in the playoffs because Utah still does not have a small ball game, so it was just Doncic bringing Gobert out. Let's dance. Yep. Let's find somebody at the rim for an alley-oop. I even think Devin Harris was in on it because he was calling him Gobert all night. All night. That was crazy. Follow-Will was calling him Gobert. Harper was calling him Gobert. And even into the fourth quarter, Devin Harris is calling him Gobert. Did they ever play together? I think it's possible that they may have crossed over, but that was wild to me. I was like, this is just complete disrespect by the Mavericks' entire franchise here. You got Doncic out there lighting Gobert up, trying to get him kicked out for accidentally tripping over his feet, and then you got Devin Harris on the broadcast calling him Gobert. No offense to the Wolves, who have been good, but the Mavs, to me, are the real deal.
Yeah, that felt like a playoff game. And how chippy it was. Luka was looking for every little foul call. There's a lot of talk. It felt like, we're back in the playoffs. A lot of chatting with the referees. And also that Luka wanted some revenge. 10 days prior, Rudy Gobert, air quotes, shut down Luka on plenty of, hey, let's dance type occasions. He played him really, really well. And this was an adjustment game 3 of the series where I'm just going to go back at him. It was a lot of fun for sure. So much yapping back and forth with these two teams. A very enjoyable watch. The other one, the Wolves, where they went, basically it was like a 40-point win throughout the entire game because they're playing a G League team. And the Blazers, unfortunately, was just hilarious. The wave was happening in Minnesota. The wave! God, I thought that was dead. Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was cool or very, very, very uncool. I definitely lean uncool. A wave at a basketball game. Come on, that's desperate. And we'll get into some more Wolves hijinks a little bit later in the show because, it was like a romp from Q1 yesterday. That was a ridiculous game. But
isn't this a sign that the Wolves are actually maybe a legit good team? Like, they played the Blazers, yes, who suck and are leaning into the tank. But they crushed them in the last 2 games here. That's good. The old Wolves don't do that. They drop at least one of those, and you're left going, "Oh my god!" But they're, they beat the Thunder, they beat the crappy Warriors right now. The Cavs, they took care. Like, those are the 5 wins in a row here. Like, when you include those 2 Blazers wins, like, that's something to me. That
Absolutely,
they're kicking their ass.
Every win for the Wolves right now is important because they've got to solidify their position. They're going to make the playoffs, obviously, no question there. But they want to show that they can be more than just, hey, we just want to make the playoffs to make up the numbers here, and they can extend this. They've got the Thunder next, then the Magic, then they face Miami, then San Antonio and the Lakers. So they can really stretch this out right now. But
what the problem is for them, the Nuggets, because of Jokic, keep winning. And the Mavs, because of Luka, and everybody else contributing, of course, keep winning too. Like, otherwise, I think the Wolves, they would be being talked about more because they would probably caught up a little bit in the standings, but they're still, unfortunately, a couple games back.
Yeah, they are. But this is all they can do right now is just keep on winning because they have not been a convincing team in years gone by. They just always, like you say, you can see them losing to a Blazers team. Anthony Simons, yes. He was not playing there last night. That's the sort of game where it's like, the Wolves just blew that one. How did they lose that? Right. But Doncic right now, he is just on fire. That step back he's got going is incredible. And Spencer Dinwiddie, what a pickup he has been for them because no Jalen Brunson last night. So that's been their sort of secondary ball handler, distributor there. Spencer Dinwiddie, perfect. More shots for me, and that's great. So yeah, the Mavericks I have not been super convinced on this team for a lot of the season. Right now, changing my tune because they are looking really, really good, and I love it. You know, Tass mentioned the revenge factor. There's no question in my mind they wanted to get one back there last night. Him and Rudy Gobert, they don't like him. Rudy threw the ball at him like that. He wanted to fight him afterwards. I mean, but that's what we want. We want that sort of drama and tension because I definitely think the Mavericks look at the Jazz and think we just match up really well against this team.
Yeah.
They can't slow us down. That would be an awesome first round series.
I liked hearing Luka after this game too talk about like they really want the 4 seed. They want a home court in a series because he's never had that.
Yeah.
So they're of course gunning for that. They want to try and get up the Western Conference standings. Maybe we'll talk about it in detail on tomorrow's show.
And they lost the road court advantage series last year.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. It's a good point. But anyway, they're gunning for it. And do you still have I saw you over your shoulder, the Dinwiddie stats up that the tear he is on.
Yeah, it sure seemed like when they traded Kristaps Porzingis that their ceiling was a little bit lower because they're trading for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans, but Spencer Dinwiddie feeling good in this role. Yeah, his last 6 games, 22 points, 5 assists on 55% from the floor and 48% from 3. They're 7-1 when he plays. So, you know, it's a
that's good.
Yeah, it's a yin and a yang. They're playing well, and Spencer's also playing well. But he's come to the team when Luka has decided to turn on this MVP run. I mean, that's part of it. But Spencer Dinwiddie's also just feeling good. He wasn't a part of the future in Washington, and he was told that basically. And now he's playing to his capabilities. So he's, you know, is he their second best player? I mean, you can call him that, I suppose. But everybody's just contributing. Everybody's feeling good, and yeah, lots of jostling in the Western Conference standings. We ain't done yet. That would be a fun one, but also just a lot of talking with the refs. Jazz Mavs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Rudy Gobert, he
goodness,
slacked Kaliba right in the chops in the first quarter, I think it was. And so much yapping. I mean, I don't know.
There'd be some long playoff games.
Those would be long.
Well, let's get to some other games last night. Oladipo, he returned for the Heat. Hero scored 31. They beat the Rockets 123-106. And then we had Julius Randle netting a career best 46 points as the Knicks rallied past the Kings 131-115. So I'm doing a bit of a reach here to jam these together, but the question is, bigger surprise, Oladipo and how he looked in his return, or Randle popping off there for 46 in a big comeback over Sacramento. What you got?
Well, despite the fact I was looking forward to a Monday night 10:30 Eastern Knicks-Kings tip-off, I'm going with Victor Oladipo. I thought he looked actually really, really smooth and comfortable out there. He drove inside, had a nice dunk, hit some threes. Honestly, for a guy who hadn't played for 11 months, and one of those ones like, is he even still in the league, this guy? You know, like, because we just hadn't seen or heard from him. And now, and I talked about yesterday on the show, I said he's basically an insurance policy. If they get that sort of production out of him consistently, this is one of those good problems to have if you're Eric Spoelstra, because they have got so many guys now who can sort of play in that backup role. You know, it's a Vincent, a Maxi Strus, Tyler Hero's obviously getting a lot of minutes off the bench there. But if you can get Oladipo out there for 12, 15 minutes a night, he's a good defensive player, he can shoot the three. The Heat are just so deep, and there are so many options there for Spoelstra. So I thought it was great. And again, look, against the Rockets, his former team there, the team he turned down the 2-year, $45 million extension with. So he got some revenge against the old team. But that's the kind of game you want, where it's like, it wasn't really that close here. The Heat were winning this game no matter what. Oladipo got out there and got to really see how he could be used in that role. He could be a backup point guard. He could be an off-ball guy. He provides a lot for them. But the more that confidence of driving inside and throwing down a dunk, I thought that was really, really good. So overall, I gave him a B+ for this game.
B+?
I thought it was fantastic.
Okay. What do you think, Tass, of Oladipo's return or Randle going for 46?
Excited to see Victor Oladipo out there. All these returns get hyped. Oh, he's gonna look. He did look really, really good.
He hadn't played in a long time.
I
said yesterday, April 2021, I guess it was.
11 months, they said, yeah.
And, I don't really think of Victor Oladipo as a passer, but if you're playing on the Miami Heat, if he is going to play playoff minutes with this team, he's got to zing that ball around. That's what this team is. It's built on getting the most out of a collective unit. He had 4 assists in this game, a beautiful zinger to Dwayne Dedmon under the hoop. Yeah, the dunk happened. He looked extremely spry. You forget Victor Oladipo is an all-defensive player because, you think of him as an offensive player. He looked good on the defensive end. He took a charge. Probably wasn't a charge, but he's always going to be in the right place. He can fit in with this Miami Heat team. Are his legs going to be good night in and night out? Well, if you play him 15, 18, 20 minutes a game, maybe. He's not I guess he's not going to be a heavy minutes player for the rest of his career. I don't know, but definitely not on this team. And I mean, he filled the role really, really well. And so, yeah, some of those guys that Leigh mentioned, their minutes will be reduced if Victor Oladipo is in. You know, your Gabe Vincent's, maybe your Struces, but Oladipo can make a play. If he is looking good. So that was amazing. I think with the Knicks and Julius Randle's 46, not surprising that the Kings are out of this freaking thing. They're 4-8 since they've made the trade for the Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis deal. Not surprising, but I think Julius Randle is enjoying the lack of pressure that comes with this Knicks season's already dead. I mean, I think at the beginning of last season when he started his run, zero pressure in New York. He got hot. It didn't stop. Then the pressure came in the playoffs. Then the pressure came this season, and he's been a bad mid-range shooter. All of a sudden, he's hot, and I think that helps that they're out of it already. So I don't know which one I'm more surprised by, but it's stinky there in New York, that's for sure.
Trey, how would you answer this one? Oladipo's return or Randle 46 in that comeback win?
I guess I got to go with Oladipo because I don't believe that the Julius Randle thing actually happened. Nobody saw that happen. This is like Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. Yeah, I've heard the radio broadcast. Leigh gave Victor Oladipo a B+, and I'll tell you what, he can be a plus for the Heat if he keeps coming off the bench. Yeah, he could possibly give the Heat something in their guard rotation that they don't have coming off the bench, which is a guy who drives, which I think is going to be huge because Max Strus, he wants to shoot threes. Gabe Vincent, he wants to shoot threes. So occasionally there will be a time when you need somebody to get downhill. That can be Victor Oladipo. Like Tass is saying, who knows if his legs will be there? Who knows if it will be good every night? But there's less of a requirement for that if you're one of three guards coming off the bench rather than if you're a sixth man or if you're a spot starter. So he might be able to help a little bit here. It's nice to see a guy get a dunk in their first game back. I'm with Leigh. Klay Thompson did it as well. That's a way to send a message. This guy's ready. He can still dunk. So do it again. Do it again.
Oladipo was in a dunk contest, wasn't he?
That's right.
Came out singing.
Yeah.
That's right. New York. Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't Classic Man? Who was Classic Man? Aaron
That was
Gordon.
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Is that the same one?
I think it was the next year. It must have been 15 and 16. Those guys must have just been singing in the Orlando Magic locker room.
And Oladipo, he had the sign that said Mr. 540, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But
I think it said Mr. 360.
Oh.
And then he did a dunk.
But he sort
that
of-
everybody said was a 540.
Oh, is
but
that
was
it?
really a 360. Because I was just rewatching it after this year's dunk contest. And Kenny Smith yells, "Oh, he should be calling himself Mr. 540.
There you go. There you go.
But I could be wrong.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
A couple other games last night. Let's just slip it in here before our first break. Cade Cunningham scored 28 as the Pistons beat the Hawks 113-110 in overtime. Their third straight victory, I believe, for Detroit here. And then the Spurs, Gregg Popovich, ties Don Nelson for NBA career wins record as the Spurs beat the Lakers. No LeBron in this one. So here's the question. More promising young core between the Pistons or the Spurs? What you got, Trey?
This to me kind of feels like what you got, top level talent or tons and tons of depth. Because the Pistons, they got a stud in Cade Cunningham. And then they've got some good players that I'm not convinced will be around, actually, that the next time the Pistons are really good. As for the Spurs, they got a bunch of players who are guaranteed to be in various NBA teams' rotations, likely the Spurs, because they keep their guys for the most part. And they've got an all-star in DeJounte Murray, who probably is never going to get to MVP level, which is ultimately why I'm going with the Pistons, because I'm a Cade Cunningham stan at this point. Another solid one for Cade last night. 28 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists. He plays at the same pace from the opening tip until the last minute of the game. Like, you can't hurry him, you can't speed him up, you can't slow him down. He just plays at like a mid sort of pace the entire time. The Pistons have won 3 straight games for the first time all season. Is that a streak?
Yeah, for them,
that's an official
absolutely.
streak. I think that has bypassed the patch. He's averaging 23 per game, 9 rebounds and 6 assists in those 3 wins. The percentages have been all over the map this season. That's how it is. That's how it was for Luka Doncic his rookie year. But he's got 4 straight 20-point games, 5 in his last 7 since the All-Star break. He only did it 12 times in 44 games before the All-Star break. I was listening to the Saturday Slam and Jam. Subscribe. to that podcast and others by going to theathletic.com/no-dunks, $1 a month. Great stuff. They were talking about the pre-leap that players make in the end part of the season where, like, you know, the Pistons really aren't playing for anything here. They're just trying to get better, but you want to see some sort of progress. I feel like Cade Cunningham has made that pre-leap to where he's looking at next season. This guy's going to be an absolute stud. I kind of think that Evan Mobley has already locked down Rookie of the Year, but you could make some cases here that Cade has certainly closed the gap, and maybe he'll get a few first-place votes when it comes down to it, because I saw this stat, hilariously cherry-picked stat in the AP today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cade Cunningham played in his 50th game on Friday. Cool.
Okay.
He scored 815 points, 289 rebounds, and 255 assists, joining Magic Johnson and Luka Doncic as the only two other players who were 20 or younger in NBA history to have that many points in their first 50 games. You know, the 815, 289, 255 in 50 under 20 club.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. But you
Yeah.
can see why he is compared to Luka being a big-time ball handler, a strong guy, and somebody who is always playing at his own pace.
Yep.
So just the fact that the Pistons have Cade Cunningham, I'm putting him a little bit ahead of the Spurs, just because I think he's the best guy of anybody on those two teams.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree for the same sort of reasons. I think DeJounte Murray, has already been in the league a little bit longer. He's having, a better season, but I think Cade Cunningham has a much higher ceiling. I think Cade Cunningham is going to be very good because this was a dumb ending to this game.
Oh my God! Go through it if you remember. It was crazy. I was watching.
Yeah, and then John Collins had a chance to win it for the Hawks and bricked the first free throw, knocked in the second one there, and then in the overtime it was Cunningham hit a big three and the Pistons closed this one out. So yeah, he got off to a slow start. The injury, it's in Detroit. You're like, oh man, if they gotten this right, they absolutely have. Cunningham, I have no question. He is going to be a stud. But DeJounte Murray, and I think those are the two best players. He really has taken big leaps this year by making the All-Star game, by showing what he can do on both ends of the floor there. So today, I think Murray is better, but I think Cunningham will be in the long run.
Anything to add to either that Pistons win in overtime, Pop tying Don Nelson, or these young cores here to answer the Whatchu?
Well, the pre-leap is interesting with the Detroit Pistons because watching them last few games, this 3-game streak, it looks like they're just kind of a hard team to play. Trae Young was 5 of 20 yesterday against them because they were so smart in how they played him. Got in his space, used length against him, but did not foul. And it was just a hard work for Trae to get those 5 buckets. So it was a tough night for the Hawks. Pistons team, if they believe in their core, are they going to trade Jeremy Grant this offseason? I think that's sort of my pondering question for them going into this offseason, because the Portland Trailblazers believe they can get Jeremy Grant to make Damian Lillard stick around there to be his, number 2 type guy. But if the Pistons are going to continue to play like this, why not have a guy in Jeremy Grant who is a solid player and there isn't really a reason to trade for another draft pick if you believe in your core. They just look like a tough team to play right now, and Cade obviously is the head of that. He looks like the number 1 pick.
And how about our guy, Marvin Bagley III? We have always stayed in his corner because he wore an eye patch on our show. We've told you that a million times. But he's playing really well here in his new opportunity with Detroit, where, of course, expectations are very, very low. And everybody's like, okay, oh my God, you couldn't even play for Sacramento. Your dad's talking about, not playing. And they're like, we don't even want you to play. But 9 of 16 last night, 19 and 10. He was a plus 11 with Stewart leaving this game. He's been really, really solid. I mean, he's got some nice chemistry with Cade, too, already, in terms of, just rolls to the rim, man. I'll throw it up there.
Yeah.
Threw down a couple of ups. He's playing well.
No, he is, and it's like the King's curse is lifted. And you go anywhere else, and it's like, oh, I'm actually really good. But, he was a number 2 pick in, 2018? So if he can blossom into that sort of talent, the number 2 potential, then this is a great steal here for the Pistons, because he's got all his career still ahead of him here, and the chemistry is already there with him and Cade. They don't overlap. They work together. This could work out really well. I can't remember what the Pistons even gave up for him in the end, but what was it?
Oh, boy. Not a lot.
Draft pick, maybe? I can't remember. It doesn't matter anyway, because the Pistons...
Trey Lyles was part of that?
The Pistons have got a player who has really got something to prove, and if he can work in this situation, this is awesome.
Got a question when it comes to Popovich. Somebody tweeted at me this morning. Are you going to make Gregg Popovich the thumbnail of the YouTube show when he surpasses Don Nelson? And I said, look, hey, they play the Raptors on Wednesday night. If the Spurs can win, we'll find out. But what do you guys think? Should he guaranteed be the thumbnail?
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
When he gets the record.
His record probably won't get broken, so,
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I just
let's
wanted
do
to
it.
get your opinion on it, especially you. You got to get the clicks. Are people clicking on Pops? No. Oh.
No.
But it is a hell of a record.
Yeah.
You'd admit.
Yeah.
You'd agree with that.
People aren't clicking on coaches, though.
Oh.
I would say that's a general rule for thumbnails.
I think the response has to be sort of depends what else happens on that Wednesday night. You got some guy, one of these MVP guys going for 60 or something.
Thursday
He might be
night, let's
bumped
look
up.
forward. Let's be excited about the Ben Simmons return to the bench in Philadelphia.
No, this is they're on. I meant the Thursday thumbnail. This is a Wednesday night game.
I know, but more Ben
Oh, you
Simmons.
went, wow.
Yeah, because I threw up this poll here on our live stream here.
Yeah.
Will Ben Simmons get a tribute video Thursday when he returns to
Oh my
Philadelphia
God.
and is on the bench? A resounding 69% say no.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think he will.
No, I don't think so.
Doc Rivers said he should.
I can't. I cannot see that up.
Too little, too late, Doc.
Wow.
That will be the most booed tribute video of all time in Philadelphia. He's going to stand up there. Hey.
Let him ring the bell, I think.
Oh, that's a nice idea. Oh, all right.
All right, Skeets, I don't know, man. I'm looking at the schedule Wednesday night. We
Yeah.
got Phoenix at Miami.
Ooh, nice game.
That's a big time game. What else? I mean, that's probably the biggest game. Atlanta at Milwaukee. Something interesting could happen there. Denver at Sacramento. Jokic guaranteed big game. Playing against the Sacramento Kings. I would love to see a young Gregg.
Maybe I'll do young Gregg transforming into old Gregg. I'm old Gregg.
I'm old Gregg. Yeah, I would love that because like a little short crew cut when he was a young coach, and then eventually just started looking like Donald Sutherland.
Okay.
So throw Donald Sutherland on there
All right.
as well.
All right. So it sounds like we might be. I mean, but I guess.
Phoenix, Miami. That's gonna be tough. Hopefully that's a blowout.
Also, like, what are we gonna say? We're gonna be like, he did it. We knew he was gonna do it the last couple of years.
Which was your
if
favorite?
he just remained coaching. Though I will say, I guess we were debating whether he was gonna do it this season.
Yeah.
At the start of the season.
Yeah, will he retire?
We were talking
now?
about that, right? Okay. There'll be things to talk about.
Yeah.
So congrats to Pop on tying Don Nelson. One more to go. They're at a huge home stretch here, so it's gonna happen in front of their
Yes.
San Antonio crowd.
Nice.
It's just a matter of when. I'm fearful that he doesn't beat the Raptors. Beat the Spurs. The Raptors have been horrible though, but the Raptors beat the Spurs on Wednesday, and then he does it on the weekend. And then it's
no.
like emergency podcast.
Sure, why not?
All right. Well, let's hear from everybody in the stream team, listening and watching later. All those what you gots. Let's hear your answers to all four of those questions. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to do a detailed breakdown of the Eastern Conference playoff races to watch.
Shout out to Daniel Tiger. It's Chime time. Chime is an award-winning app and debit card with no overdraft fees, foreign transaction fees, monthly fees, or service fees. It's also the jersey sponsor of the Dallas Mavericks, and with over 60,000 fee-free in-network ATMs at many locations, like most Walgreens, 7-Elevens, and CVS's, you can access your money when you need it, where you need it, and for that reason, I'm in. Shark Tank. Mark Cuban. Dallas Mavericks Chime.
Yeah, nice.
Join over 10 million people using Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and it doesn't affect your credit score. Get started today at chime.com/nodunks. That's chime.com/nodunks. JD, roll that beautiful disclaimer footage.
Banking services provided by and debit card issued by the Bank Corp Bank or Stride Bank NA, members FDIC. Get fee-free transactions at any MoneyPass ATM in a 7-Eleven location and at any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM. Otherwise, out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply. Sometimes pay anyone instant transfers can be delayed. The recipient must use a valid debit card or be a Chime member to claim funds. Guys, I got my hands full over here. Something happened yesterday I want to bring to your attention. I don't usually like to show mistakes on the show, but I'm going to show this one. So here it is. Enjoy.
Give me a fourth wall to break, JD. Just real quick here. Yeah, I watched it.
Ooh.
Try him again. I want to see him break the fourth wall.
All right, you got to ask again though, like we're having a conversation.
So, did anybody watch Winning Time last night? The new Lakers HBO series?
Not me. No.
Well, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah,
We got there.
we got there in the end, but that's called getting caught with your pants down over here, because I was ready for Tweet of the Night, obviously, and it was a disaster. The point is, I need some help. So this ad read is going out to Andrew Wasserman, our beloved boss over at The Athletic. Andrew, a record number of employees are considering switching jobs right now. So now's your chance to try to attract them. LinkedIn Jobs is here to help you connect with the people you want to interview faster and for free, Andrew. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Guys, I had to crawl over a couch during the first block to move a water bottle.
Wow, you didn't have to.
No, I did. The water bottle had our old employer on it. So, yeah, it had to be done. Then, okay, this is what you do next. You add your job and the purple #hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring, so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you would like to interview and hire. That's why small businesses and big businesses like The Athletic and the New York Times rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Job helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/nodunks. That's linkedin.com/nodunks to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm here to talk to you about the new Starbucks Baya energy drink. With caffeine naturally found in coffee fruit, it's energy that's good. Coffee beans are the roasted seeds of coffee fruit. That just blows my mind every time I think about that. Yeah. Starbucks Baya energy drink is a beverage that is crafted from caffeine naturally found in coffee fruit, as well as antioxidant vitamin C, with some delicious fruity flavors that we have here on the table. Mango guava. I've got pineapple passion fruit, raspberry lime out there, and that can, that glorious can. You can get me with a can anytime. I am a sucker for beverage packaging.
Nice.
Look at that raspberry lime.
That one
can.
pops.
That's a beauty.
It's like you're taking the Rainbow Road to Raspberry Town on that one.
I love the designer work on that one. Each 12-ounce, 90-calorie can contains 160 milligrams of that natural caffeine. What a boost. Perfect for while we're playing pickup. There's 2-hour sessions happening on Wednesday. You need a little boost for a 2-hour pickup session these days. Or spike ball.
Ooh. Oh, is it spike ball season here?
It's coming,
in the
baby.
South?
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, I've got it on the brain because it's getting a little warm out here, or just a quick midday pick-me-up. Starbucks Baya energy drink is available online at grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas stations nationwide.
All right, spike ball. Yeah, I've never played spike ball with you. Yeah.
No, I've never played.
I'd like to see you out there.
Get
You got big old strong farmer hands, big old quads moving around on the grass. How your feet? How are your feet?
Not bad. A little heavier these days.
Your dogs?
The dogs get barking a little earlier than normal, yeah.
All right, let's get a spike ball session.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
It's a lot of fun. It's a hell of a workout, too. All right, so something different here. I said there are 5 weeks left in the regular season. 5, that's it. So we got to start looking at some of these compelling races in both conferences. Today we'll start with the Eastern Conference playoff races that I want you to really zero in on. I might be asking you guys for some predictions when it comes to these. Shout out to our guy, Tom Ziller, for sort of inspiring this idea. We're basically talking about who's in the mix in a particular race, why does it matter, who has the advantage, and then maybe, like I said, a prediction. So let's start with the the most compelling race is maybe the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. We'll just tackle this sort of in order. Oh, JD doing some work here for everybody in the stream team. So who's in the mix? Okay, the Heat are 44-22. They hold a 3-game lead over the Sixers and then a 3.5-game lead over the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's really these 3 teams that we're looking at. Why does it matter? Well, you might want the number 1 seed and home court advantage, especially in a postseason that looks wide open. I mean, any possibility or any chance you can have a Game 7 at home, you're probably going to want that. Though I will say, to counter that, the number 1 seed hasn't won the Eastern Conference since who? A little trivia for you guys.
I'm thinking Cleveland.
That's right.
Yeah, LeBron.
15-16.
Yeah.
That's sort of just weird when you think about it. I'm not saying win the championship,
No.
which they did, but win the conference. The number 1 seed in the East hasn't. But I think the Heat are going to want to hold on to that, and I think they're going to because they have the advantage. They're playing 9 of their next 10 games at home, where they're 23-7 in their barn. What's their gym called now?
FTX Arena.
FTX, thank you. That's right. So they have also the easiest remaining strength of schedule. Would you agree, Leigh, that they are probably going to lock up the number 1 seed because of the schedule, because of the way they're playing? Oladipo back, Lowry back, and these 2 teams that I mentioned here, a couple games behind them. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I think 3 games is quite a big margin against these 2 teams, especially what we've seen from Miami at full strength. They are a very, very good team. Now, I'm not sure if they play either of those teams. I don't know if you've got that there handy.
I don't got it all in front of me.
The Bucks play the Sixers. The Heat play the Sixers, but not the Bucks.
There you go.
And I guess that means that the Sixers plays both of them.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I think Miami is one of the most sort of under the radar best teams we've seen in a long time in either conference.
Yeah.
So I think they do lock up that number 1 seed in the East.
Would you agree with that? Do we have our 2 number 1 seeds, probably with Phoenix, of course, in the West, and Miami looking like they're going to take a test?
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
The Heat have played the most road games in the NBA, so they're going to chill at home. And I think they definitely want their number 1 seed. And Kyle Lowry will be back as well.
Well, he's back?
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. And I think the Sixers are very aware that the Heat, the path goes through the Heat. And I think that's why part of the reason why James Harden sat on Friday. And I wonder if he sits again when they do play again. Because you said they're playing again, aren't they?
So.
Oh, yeah, according to tankathon.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next compelling race here in the Eastern Conference. I think it's the race for the 3rd seed. Yes, the 3rd seed. Hear me out on this one. Okay, so who's in the mix? We're showing it to you here on the stream team. Bunch of teams. 76ers, Bucks, Bulls, Celtics, Cavs. 3 games separate these 5 teams currently, seeded 2 through 6. But why does it matter that 3rd seed that I'm zeroing in on? Because I think the Cavs are going to be the 6th seed. This Jared Allen injury is going to miss some time. They're just a snake-bitten team, it feels like, despite being one of the feel-good stories of the year. I think they're going to be the 6th seed, so I think that is going to be the most favorable matchup for any of the other remaining teams. I think they're going to be like, ooh. And what I mean by that is even more than the 2nd seed, who will be playing the 7th seed, which we'll get to in a second, and the whole play-in stuff like that. That could be Brooklyn. It could be a Raps team. It could be stuff like that. Again, I don't mean to diss the Cavs here, but I think they're the one where you're like, oh, yeah, well, I like our chances. So I really have my eye on this 3rd seed here, and I could see the Sixers getting a little sneaky with possibly, punting on a 2nd seed even, especially if the Nets, to avoid that. But, who has the advantage here? I think the Celtics have the easiest remaining schedule, or at least easier than the Bucks and the Bulls. And, they're playing, well, we talked about it yesterday. They're playing some of the best basketball in the league, them and the Heat for sure in the Eastern Conference. It's not a cakewalk like the teams they got to play, but they're just playing so well. I know the Celtics play Chicago in early April, I believe.
Yeah.
And so the tiebreakers are going to come into play here. But again, the Sixers, fascinating to watch with them and what they do with the 2nd or 3rd seed here. I think if I'm a betting man, I'm going to have the Celtics taking the 3rd seed. And I know that sounds crazy, but there are not a lot of games. I mean,
No.
these teams play each other, and it's like a whole game can be flipped
Yeah.
in the standings. So anyway, that's where I'd be going right now. But it's very tough to figure out.
Boston, Milwaukee. Boston's won 2 of the 3 games, so they got 1 more. So if they were to win that, then yes, that could tilt it in their favor.
Okay, the question, Trey, is... Sorry, I snuck it in there. Do you think the Sixers would get funky here trying to avoid a second seed because it could mean, playing, let's say, a Nets in a 2-7 or something like that?
Nah, I think they would want to have home court advantage against the Bucks in round 2. I think they're going to... You're right. I mean, everybody's going to want to avoid Brooklyn in round 1, but we're not even sure that Brooklyn's going to be in round 1.
That's true.
I would not really worry about that. And honestly, if you're the Sixers, you look at the centers for the Brooklyn Nets and say... we ain't that worried about it. So I kind of think that the Philadelphia should finish in second. They've got the easiest schedule remaining of all of these teams as well. So I kind of think they'll finish second. The Bucks do not care about their seed. They won the Eastern Conference. Oh, man, cough guy over here. But they had great first seed seasons, never made it to the title. They were looked at as a disappointment. Then they finally finished in the 3rd seed, went to the championship. They can win on the road. They do not care about that. I think the Bulls will drop to number 5, probably. So I think you're kind of right. It'll go Philly, Milwaukee, Boston, Chicago, Cleveland. Seems most likely to me.
What do you think, Tass, of this race here for 2nd, 3rd seed? Really home court advantage, I guess.
Yeah, I don't see anybody punting. You don't know what's coming out of that play-in tournament. And although I think you'd rather face the Brooklyn Nets in the first round before they get things going, I think it'll just help them to get more reps getting into the second round. You don't really know what's going on down there. So, yeah, you shuffle up there and try and get home court as much as possible. That's for sure.
All right. The final most compelling race in the East, it's the one we're sort of talking about here, but I'm going to specifically make it the 8th seed. So who's in the mix here? Well, heading into last night's action, we had essentially a 3-way tie between the Hornets, Nets, and Hawks, but ATL lost to the Pistons in overtime, which is a brutal loss. So they are currently in the 10th spot, a half game back of Charlotte and Brooklyn. And yes, incredibly, the Wizards are only a game and a half out of the 10th seed behind Atlanta. Like, they're there. But why does the 8th seed matter more? You get 2 bites, Leigh, at that play-in apple, right? Let's say you're the 8th seed and the Raptors remain in 7th because they do have a little bit of a buffer there. Well, you beat the Raps, you're in. So you're the 7th seed.
Yeah.
You're loving that. But if you lose to them, you lose to the Dinos, you still get one more crack at being the 8th seed, taking on the winner of that 9th, 10th game. So you definitely want to, again, hey, we can lose one and still get in? Okay, sure. So this is huge, 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 huge. Now, who has the advantage? I mean, it's tough to figure out. The Hawks have the easiest remaining SOS, strength of schedule. And they were, I guess you could argue, playing the best basketball of like 8, 9, 10, and then 11 if you're including the Wizards. But, they dropped a stinker there last night, so I'm not sure that's true. Charlotte's won 2 in a row. They hold the tiebreaker over Brooklyn, but they've only played once, Leigh. So game 2 in their series is tonight in the Queen City. Big one.
Nice.
If Charlotte wins, then they're going to hold that tiebreaker regardless because there'd only be one more game left. But if Brooklyn wins tonight, Tass, that March 27th game in Brooklyn between Charlotte and Brooklyn could be big. But
should we go to it?
I think I'll pass on that one. But if you're making predictions here when it comes to play-in, Tass, do you have the Raps comfortably in 7th and winning? Because just because you're in 7th, you still got to beat that team 8th. If you had to pick here with 5 weeks to go, how's this going to shake out? What's going to go on?
Well, I think the Brooklyn Nets, because I've got the hots for the Nets, are going to go into Toronto. It's a 7-8 matchup, and they're comfortable playing on the road. Kyrie Irving, I believe, will be allowed to play in that game, and they'll have a good matchup. Who am I picking? Yeah, I'll take the Raps, but in my heart, probably the Nets with Kevin Durant on the floor. But yeah, it's 5 weeks away. That's a ways away.
Who do you got?
I think that the Nets are going to beat the Hornets tonight and never relinquish the 8th seed.
Interesting.
So I think the Raps 7, Brooklyn 8, and then 9 and 10 would be what? Charlotte and
Atlanta, possibly.
Atlanta.
Maybe with
Man, Atlanta, come on. They've got the easiest schedule left, which is maybe a curse for them.
Yes, I agree.
If they had the hardest schedule in the league, I'd be like, well, the Hawks might finish in the 7th seed.
Yeah.
They play a lot better when they play against a team that actually is competitive as well. But Hornets have been falling off big time. Meanwhile, the Nets are adding players. Kyrie will theoretically be able to play more as the season ends. Kevin Durant is back. Ben Simmons is going to be on the court at some point. So you're adding 3 All-Stars to a team that's completely underwhelmed this year, but there's still 3 All-Stars with something to actually play for at this point. So I think they move up into the 8th spot.
Do you agree with these guys that we're going to have in the play-in tournament, 7th, 8th matchup will be the Raps versus the Nets, and then 9th and 10th will, probably be, let's say, the Hornets or Hawks. I guess the Wizards are still in it, Porzingis made his debut for them. He looked good. Or do you think it could go another way here? Could Charlotte, take this from Brooklyn?
Honestly, all 4 of those teams could make it, but they could also just get blown away as well. They've all been just at different times this season looked terrible, and other times like, this team could do some damage here. So I would say if you've got Kevin Durant on your team, you'd feel pretty comfortable no matter where you finish in that playing tournament.
Especially in a 1-game.
Exactly. I would take
winner.
him. So then it's basically which of the other 3 teams can survive, and I think with the Raptors getting back OG and Freddie would probably be good enough. So I would have the Raptors 7th. Nets 8th, I think.
But then you sounds like you'd probably have Brooklyn beating the Raptors in that game. They would take 7th, and the Raps would have to beat one of these other teams at the bottom of the barrel.
They would have home court though, so I would take the Raptors and the Nets.
All right, I can't wait. So there are 4 teams out of it, I guess is what we're getting at. The Knicks, even though they're trying to hold on for dear life, they're out of it.
Yep.
And the Pacers, the Pistons, and the Magic are your other teams. But let's hear from everybody out there who's taking this play-in. Hey, this play-in tournament, though, I saw Ben Golliver writing about it for the Washington Post. It's
working.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, it absolutely is working. Like, we care about these games. We care about, obviously, the seeding as we just went through. And it gives some of these teams that had slow starts, especially when if we do the West tomorrow, like the Pelicans, like, a chance to salvage their season, right?
Absolutely. I mean, in soccer, it's the relegation battle,
right?
And because you're avoiding going down, where it's like a completely different division. This is like we've got to get in there to get into the big playoffs, the big boy playoffs, and it's just creating excitement down at the other end of the table. Where in years gone by, we'd just be like, it doesn't matter who makes that last spot.
Right.
Now we've got teams that could legit get in there and potentially at least make it interesting in that first round.
Yeah, like if there was no play-in tournament, what would we be doing with the East right now? We would really just be saying,
Can the Nets make the playoffs?
Yeah, that's it. Could we be like, well, can they be the 8th seed? Can they? Can the Hornets bump them out, or can the Hawks bump them out, or something like that? And then, of course, you get into like home court advantage, like we just went through. There's always a little bit of that, but really, we got a little more excitement here when we get the. Because I always forget it's the 7 versus 8. 9 versus 10.
Yeah.
The loser of 7-8 taking on the winner of 9-10. In my head, I always want to go, well, it's 7 versus 10.
Yeah.
And it's 8 versus 9, but it's not that. It's not the
and I like it this way. I
like it that way.
Yeah, because it should give you, you should have a chance to lose if you're 7 or 8.
Right.
And stay in it.
Yeah. Even us basketball nerds forget that it's a 7, 8, 9, 10 bracket.
It's somewhat new still, I guess.
Yeah, but we talk about it all the time. Why not throw a little bracket on there, on the standings? A little visual bracket.
bracket.
7 versus 8.
NBA.com, they start to do that. I don't know if they've done it yet.
Well,
but
there's a timeline.
If the playoffs started today thing.
Yeah, they start showing it to you visually. You're right, Todd. You got to see
roll.
it a little bit better.
Let's get it going, baby. I want to see it. You know who I feel bad for looking at these standings? Guys who weren't bought out that could have joined one of these teams. As Trey said, Joel Embiid is going to be licking his chops if he sees the Brooklyn Nets. Andre Drummond, I'm sure he'll be very excited about that. A big body from one of these teams like Robin Lopez didn't get cut. Why did the Magic sign him number 1? No idea.
Disney.
Because he wanted to be near Disney. He's getting paid $4 million to go attend Disney for free every day. And then
he chose them.
Yeah, he chose them, right. And then he should have asked to get cut just to be opposed from Joel Embiid, take some hits for the Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs. But anyways, the Nets have holes. Even though I think they can win a series and play, it's funny because the Raps are going to be a tough team, and I'm going through all these play-in teams. The Nets, star power. The Hawks were an Eastern Conference finalist, so even those teams, they can do something. So the play-in tournament, it does mean something. It does feel like it's for a couple worthy opponents joining the Big Boy Club, did you call it? Big Boy Playoffs?
Big Boy Playoffs, yeah.
Right.
BBP.
Well, here's the real question. Was any of that worth it? What we just did? Was it informative? Did you like it? Let us know in the stream team. Let us know if you're listening later. And we might do it tomorrow for the Western Conference, which has its own compelling races for sure in seedings. Though a couple of them are a little more clear, I would say. But no, that's not true. I guess when you get into the Jazz and the Mavs and the Nuggets are right there, and the Wolves are trying to hold on them. There are some interesting ones. All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, though, tweet of the night and pick 'em results. Leigh.
Whether you've been in a relationship for years or just getting started, having the confidence that comes from preparation means you're free to enjoy the moment when the moment comes. Even though you are far from ordinary, the truth is that ED is really common. In fact, 52% of guys aged between 40 and 70 experience some form of erectile dysfunction. Go to getroman.com/nodunks now to speak to a US licensed healthcare professional about erectile dysfunction and get $15 off your first month of treatment. ED is more common than most people think. In fact, 52% of men between the ages of 40 and 70, and just reiterating that, will experience some form of ED. Roman Ready is confidence personified. It is the self-assurance that comes from knowing you've prepared yourself for the moment when intimacy arrives. Roman's system is completely confidential and totally discreet. No big logos or labels on the packages. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/nodunks and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving your home. Complete an online visit today and connect with a US licensed healthcare professional and take care of everything. Go to getroman.com/nodunks, and if you're prescribed, get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this fall. Roman Ready.
This podcast also sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Relationships take work. A lot of us will drop anything to go help someone we care about. We'll go out of our way to treat other people well, but how often do we give ourselves that same treatment? You talked about on yesterday's show, Leigh, your therapy, just getting off your phone, getting outside, just wandering around the neighborhood, looking for street ribs.
Yeah, I haven't seen that guy for a while.
That's unfortunate. For me, my therapy, I've talked about it before, running. Similar, I guess, to what you're saying. Just get out there, put some miles on the road. What about you, Tass? What's your
exercise
for sure? Exercise, okay, that's a common answer. Trey, maybe fishing? Getting out on the water, ripping lips?
Getting out on the water. Just being in nature, I would say.
It's good.
Laying in a hammock. That's for me, I know I had a good day if I laid in a hammock for 5 minutes.
That's nice. Yeah. That's all it takes. Well, this month, BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to take care of your most important relationship, the one you have with yourself. Whether it's hitting the gym, making time for even a haircut, taking care of yourself a little bit, or even trying therapy, you are your greatest asset, so invest the time and effort into yourself as you do, hopefully, for other people. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. And I never, ever want to, so that's good. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp Online Therapy. This podcast, sponsored by BetterHelp, and No Dunks listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/nodunks. That's BETTERHELP.com/nodunks. All right, JD, tweet of the night.
JD's getting tomorrow's ad read ready.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Yeah, fat thumb that one, or what happened over there? Why'd I ask you?
Why are you asking? I don't fucking know. Look, I don't even have a camera. Just get to the fucking tweet.
All right. Well, we got some great tweets here from at Dane Moore NBA, who's made a couple of these tweet of the nights.
Yes.
And I saw people suggesting this one, so thank you. I think Graphic Mark specifically. So 2 tweets from Dane Moore. First one, Patrick Beverley is shooting the T-shirt cannon right now. We're not even halfway through the 4th quarter. And he was serious, and there was video going around.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't grab it. JD's already got enough on his plate. And hey, just picture Patrick Beverley firing a T-shirt cannon. That's exactly what he was doing.
It's exactly like
it was a very short clip, and he was doing it. And then another great one here from, again, at Dane Moore NBA. Patrick Beverley now just took the ball they are using in the actual game and threw it into the stands so the fans could smack it around like one of those inflatable beach balls. This one a little more perplexing, and this one I did not see video of. But, you know, the smacking it around like an inflatable beach ball, to me, that's when, you know, like you're at a concert and the ball's being, you know, kicked around.
Yeah.
But in my mind, it's like, if I'm a fan, like, hey, let me just touch the ball. Like, you're notorious for if there's a basketball anywhere, you got to dribble it. All that stuff.
I wonder if the Blazers will take offense at any of that. Being disrespectful, perhaps, you know, a player shooting the cannon.
They should.
Patrick Beverley would.
Yeah, exactly.
He would be
about
pissed if somebody did that against his team.
That's the worrisome part. Beverley will do that kind of thing mid-season here. You're up 40.
Yeah.
A little too soon, I'd say. P-Bev. They also had the wave going.
Yeah.
That's fine. The wave's fine, yeah.
Yeah, but Patrick Beverley and Karl Anthony Towns were literally up on the bench. This is during play. And they're up in the crowd like, hey, everybody, 3, 2, 1, whoa! And as they went around, they were back up doing it. I mean, they're rubbing it in their face. I just think Patrick Beverley, he seemed like he was the instigator of all this.
Yeah, sure.
It's just we haven't won anything. I just think it's one of those things that, you know, keep it a little low key, man.
Minnesota had the Wolves fans have had next to nothing to cheer about for almost a decade, more longer than a decade. Come on, let them have some fun.
They're having fun. They have t-shirt.
There's a crowd there now, which is nice. They're into games. They're pumped up.
No,
they're winning games.
It's great. I just don't think that Patrick Beverley has to be the one shooting the t-shirt cannon. They'll still be excited for whoever's shooting the cannon.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think P.
Let Anthony Edwards shoot the cannon. Anybody else, it's cool.
Yeah, that's partly true.
Karl Anthony Towns in the clip that I did see, you can see him in the background. He is loving it.
I like him doing it as well.
Yeah, he is dying laughing at Patrick Beverley firing those t-shirts.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Beverley, man. It's like the Timberwolves got beat by 30 and he went out and talked trash. You know, he talked trash when it looked like they had Damian Lillard beat. And then they got beat by Damian Lillard. Good thing for him is that the season series with the Trailblazers is over this year. And the Timberwolves won all 4 of them. And they won the last 2 by 14 points and then 43. So, I mean, they earned it. They earned it. If you don't want somebody shooting cannons, hit him on the floor. But I guess Nurkic is not playing right now. So next year, Patrick Beverley, watch your back, buddy. Guaranteed Nurkic is going to take a cheap shot.
You fired that t-shirt cannon. How dare you? What was the last time you caught a t-shirt at a game?
Never.
You've never
caught one, no.
Oh, wow.
No. I had a friend over once from Australia, first game ever, and, well, it's a t-shirt, yeah, you know, the parachutes that come down at the fortress there, and went bump straight into his, like, lap. It's like, I can't
thought you were
believe
going to say it went straight onto him. He was suddenly just wearing it. Wow.
No, but another friend, old Eight Toes' brother Dan, went to one baseball game in his life, caught a foul ball. Unbelievable. What are the chances of that?
Slim.
Yeah. I want the foul ball. That'd be great.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You want to catch it, but then you just give it to someone right away.
Yeah,
you do not keep it.
Yeah.
What are you going to possibly do? You
have a ball. I mean,
Play catch, bro.
Excellent. But you could throw it. You could be lying in the hammock, just throwing it to yourself. You love throwing balls to yourself.
You're a grown man at a baseball game, and you catch a foul ball. Good on you. Great catch. You immediately find a kid to give it to you.
Nope.
You don't keep it like a weirdo.
No.
I got 2 kids. Got 2 kids to give it to at home.
Oh, okay. Fair, I'll allow that. But you have to show me photos of your kid at the game. So I can trust you.
You have to show your kid enjoying baseball. Look, this kid likes baseball too. They're just not here today.
Right.
They're enjoying it at home.
Right. You can explain why your child is not with you at this game. All right, pick 'em results last night. We had the Jazz Mavs game. Dallas was favored by 1.5 at home. This brought to you by BetMGM. And Dallas took care of business, got the win there, got the cover. Tass on fire, 4-1 here, though he does owe us a bunch of pick and payoffs. We have not forgotten. Don't you worry, guys.
Next season, I'll get him in next season.
And Trey, backed Tass last night. You were debating, do I start going shoot the moon, go for the over? We told you no. You were only 2 games back, and now you only 1. So you got the win. You're 1-4. Leigh and I took the Jazz, so we lost. We're 2-3. But what's tonight's game, Tass, here in the pick'em?
6-game night in the association. Some small market love. My 2 favorite small markets in the NBA heading for a game in Memphis. Pelicans are visiting, 5.5 points dogs in Memphis. And, Splitsville. Makes sense.
These are hot teams.
Skeets and Trey on the Grizzlies to cover 6 points or more at home. Myself and Leigh taking those 5.5 points on the roads for the hot Pelicans. Yeah, the Grizzlies, they cooled a little bit. They've cooled.
It's a TNT game, yeah?
I don't know.
I believe so. Tuesday night, baby. I think we have Pelicans, Grizzlies, Clips, Warriors tonight, I think. This one,
Yeah,
maybe that got flexed in. That could have been a possibility. I don't know. But anyway, that's a nice one on TNT.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the rest. I mean, we got Nets, Hornets, like we talked about. Cavs, Pacers, Suns, Magic, and Bucks, Thunder. In addition to Clippers, Warriors, Pelicans, Grizzlies. What were you going to say about that game? I thought you were going to
I can't remember whether it got flexed in or not. Oh, yeah, the Warriors, because they played last night, they had to go home and then they go back out to Denver. Steph Curry didn't play last night. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Nobody went.
I know. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a little girl there. She had a stein and everything, bawling her eyes out. The Warriors have come through. They're going to give her tickets to her and her family for Thursday night's rematch.
Oh, really?
Denver. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, poor little kid there. She was just bawling her eyes out. You know, saved up all her pennies to see Steph, and he did. That's why. You know. I mean, the fans are the lifeblood of the league.
They should give her a baseball too. That'd be nice of them.
At least a free T-shirt, I guess. That's size triple XL.
Hey, she's going to 2 games.
Yeah. Not bad. Worked out. Worked out. Not bad. All right, let's call it there, guys. Email in your NBA questions to nodunks@theathletic.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Shazam as well, at nodunks.
Shazam is back.
Hey, I put up a poll.
Yeah.
Just because I was curious, because we were talking about Shazam, you know, the app that helps you figure out what song you're listening to. I said, you know, the poll was, do you still use Shazam?
Yeah.
Over 2,000 people have voted. And it was nearly Splitsville. It was 51% no, 49% yes. But I think that's a win for us Shazam heads.
Yeah, big Shazam head.
I thought it would be way lower. I thought people were like, no, I deleted this a long time ago.
People still just like it, you know.
I'm sure it's great.
We're going to test it out if you can sing into it and if it can pick up
Yeah,
the
if only
song.
you could get your hands on a phone.
You dedefinitely can. You can hum and stuff.
That's crazy, man.
You want to do a whole podcast on us trying to stump Shazam?
Oh, wow. That's
not bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of like name that tune, but for a phone.
Yeah.
The phone is the
Testing
game.
the robot. It's like when Watson showed up on Jeopardy.
He won though, right?
He kicked ass, didn't he?
Damn.
Or she. I guess was Watson a guy or a girl? I don't know. I guess
Earl
neither.
Watson or Emma Watson. I don't know who. It
So,
was.
interesting. Like, does Shazam know John Farnham? You know, if I hum it,
man, it's right there.
You want me to sing John Farnham?
like hum it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, here's Leigh humming or singing John Farnham. Which one? What are you gonna go with?
You're the voice, try and understand it. Make a noise and make it clear. Whoa, whoa.
And
Hang tight. Expanding search. This is tough. Last try. No result.
it's because you can't sing or shit. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's a great game. Yeah.
He loves it. All right, we stumped
Who
him.
kill him in the UK? Everybody gonna say UK. Reluctantly, because most of this press don't fuck with me. Still one said to me, cool down. Don't act the fool now. Always act the fool, ow. Ain't nothing new,
Better
wow.
get this.
No result.
What? Oh, jeez. Shazam
Hey,
sucks.
crazy, I know what you're thinking. Right being, I know what you're drinking. Rap singer, chain blinger, holla at the next chick as soon as you're blinking. What's your persona about this Americana? Rama, amateur. That's it. Didn't get it.
Shazam's gonna delete itself. All right. Great way to end this show. Grab yourself an athletic subscription. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks and get your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. We will be back tomorrow live at 10 a.m. Eastern here in the Classic Factory. Until then, Clipper Bros.
Well, not today.
JD's having one hell of a day.
Well, thanks for joining us. And remember, I just put up a poll. The question was, do you like polls? 88%. What do you think?
Yes.
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 Embrace the day, people.